Troncho, Mrs. Grosh, Mrs. Gutierrez,
Here.
Mr. Hall.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, I'd like to just take a point of personal privilege to ask for a moment of silence for those of us affected with family and friends that live in the greater Los Angeles area. So if we could just take a moment of silence and give thanks for the firefighters and everybody that's working hard on their behalf. Thank you. Consideration of additional agenda items. We do have some public comment. So comments by members of the public shall be made only during the public comment portion of the meeting and shall be limited to 3 minutes per individual and 5 minutes per group, unless additional opportunity is given at the board's discretion. Each member of the public wishing to speak will be asked to fill out a form, which I have, indicating name, address, and agenda item to be addressed. So I'd like to welcome you. First up is Allison Borkowski. Allison, come on up. Good evening.
Oh, good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Allison Bukowski. I'm a paralegal.
There we go. Hello, my name is Allison Bukowski. I'm a paralegal with the law firm Adams & Reese here in Denver, Colorado. Our client, Truist Bank, is aware of a serious delinquency under the loan issued from Truist Bank to Hyland Hills Rec and their delinquency. I would like to submit a copy of a recent correspondence pertaining to this delinquency for your reference. The delinquency is ongoing and continuing, and would you like to comment to any plans that Hyland Hills addresses or would like to address for this delinquency?
This is the first we've seen it, so we'd have to take a look at it.
I should have made more copies.
And typically, we don't respond to inquiries at this point in time, so we will take a look at it. Was there anything you would like to bring to our attention?
No, sir.
So just this letter for tonight?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We will take a look at it and work with Yvonne Fishbeck, the Executive Director, and someone will get back to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. I'd like to call up Jim Fenimore.
Good evening, Board. Happy New Year's. We're into a new year, and hopefully we'll get some great things done this year. I'll bring something up to you. I was speaking with Police Chief Bob Grotto up at Federal Heights Police Department, and they are unable to have a facility to work out at. They don't have the equipment. They don't have the space to put it. And so what I was hoping to do is work with you guys and staff to maybe come up with something to where we can do something special for our police and our fire department, seeing how they do serve our community. So I know that if they could get a Hyland Hills card, they can use the Westminster facilities along with the Hyland Hills. But I was thinking maybe we could do something as the community for the people that take care of us. So if we could work something out on that, that would be highly appreciated. Thank you very much.
Jim, thank you for bringing that to our attention. So it's the Federal Heights Police and Fire?
The police department has zero access for equipment, and the fire department, with the way the building's laid out, is split up into two different areas. So I was thinking is if we could just do a group membership or something for the police and the fire department to where they can go and exercise and use you guys' facilities, because I have been to them and you do have nice facilities. And I think that would be great to share with them.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Art, not for you tonight? Thank you. You're the strong and silent part tonight. All right, we're at introductions and presentations. Bob, Skylar, Adam, or Alan?
Nothing?
You guys are slacking? No presentations? Nope. Must have been the holidays. Yeah, we'll pass it around. Everybody will get a chance to look at it. So now I'm looking for an approval or a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I move the Board of Directors of Hyland Hills Park and Recreation District approve the November 2024 Treasurer's Report as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion about the treasurer's report?
No, I'd just like to note for the record that our net revenues are above plan, and we are finishing out 2024 with a very solid and strong position.
Yes, we ended the year very strongly. It's good to see. Any other questions or comments about the treasurer's report? All in favor of approving the treasurer's report of November 2024, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Looking for a motion for the approval of the meeting minutes from the board meeting on December 12th.
I move that the Board of Directors of Hyland Hills Park and Recreation District approve the minutes of the board meeting of December 10th, 2024 as written.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes passes, carries. All right, communication and correspondence to the board. I just want to report that I had one email from a community member asking about trees to be replanted. So I have sent that over to the district, and we will talk about it at the Capital Improvement Committee. Yvonne, Executive Director report.
Thank you, Mr. President. So just wanted to point out real quickly, I sent a memo with this, but I changed up the director's report this time, so I was hoping to get any kind of feedback from the board on this, if this meets your needs, and will work going forward. So just wanted to start there. with any comments that you have, certainly any questions you have. I will real quickly just point out a couple of highlights. One of them being that we are out to bid for the first phase of the improvements at the Carol Butts Park. So as you all know, we have a master plan for that park, and part of our agreement with the City of Westminster that we're going to do some initial improvements over there to equalize the property transaction that we were involved in with them. So those bids are due back this week. We will have a recommendation for the February meeting, but that first phase involves adding pickleball courts, expanding parking, and doing some landscaping improvements at the park. The second item I wanted to point out, and I put a little picture in there for you, we talked about the boilers at the Ice Center at a previous meeting. Those are in place. The cutover was going to happen, and I don't, Bob, do you have any more current? It was supposed to, we're working on it right now, so why don't you give a quick update, Bob?
Yeah, I'm waiting for a text message that hopefully will confirm that they've completed the project and have at least one of the boilers operational this evening.
Oh,
Haven't received that yet, so I'm still in standby mode, but we're making good progress.
You can see from the pictures there that the two new units are sitting on the pedestal from one of the old units. The other, what you see to the right on the first picture, is one of the old units. So we have picked up quite a bit of space there, which will give us some more opportunities in terms of if we want to separate out, like Don had mentioned at a previous meeting, the domestic hot water supply. So the big push obviously is to get the one that failed replaced, and we are almost there. So. And then just pointing out that we finished another season at Holiday Lights at Adventure Golf. It was an interesting year this year because where we normally have really nice Novembers and then cold Decembers, we kind of had the opposite this year. So we had a good December, little bit less availability in November, but they now are switched gears. They're taking down all the lights, and we will be reopened in March for the spring season. So it's a real quick turnaround there. We'll start hiring staff and getting Adventure Golf and Raceway open for the spring season coming up. Other than that, I don't really have anything I want to point out specifically, but love to answer any questions that you all have.
I did have a question about the installation of the boilers. Did the installation go as planned? I know that there was some new approaches to it, and so I was wondering if the assumptions we used and what we planned for panned out.
The short answer is yes. They did. We ended up going through a more comprehensive evaluation, if you recall, of that, and we did find some significant savings over what we looked at initially. This high-efficiency solution seems to be working out really well. We've had a few little hiccups with the contractor getting them installed, which we would expect. It's a big project, but it really has tracked pretty well.
I just wanted to comment that your fun fact of 130 days until opening fit in pretty nicely. And I know you wanted feedback on this format. So I personally like the format. I think it's easier than taking the notes off of the tracker because you will kind of give us a narrative anyway of what we're happening for the tracker. And this way my notes are already there. So it's like all done for me. So I appreciated it. Any other feedback for Yvonne on this type of format rather than the tracker?
Yeah, so
Always better.
What?
Said, words are always better.
Words are always better?
Stories are better.
Stories are always good.
yeah, I like the presentation of this. I was wondering, so as I was going through this and thinking through that we're going through a new format, one of the things that I'm always curious of is when I'm going from one board meeting to the next board meeting, what were the most meaningful events, not even on the project tracker, that happened period over period. And so if there could be a section that is kind of dedicated to that, because there could be something like when there was the brawl in the parking lot that changed our policies, that we have that, if you could bring that to our attention. So maybe a month over month, this is the most meaningful things that happen. And then for me, what works really well, that preps me for when I'm getting through the large story narrative, is like bullet points. Carol Butts starting XYZ, boilers to be installed by X, and just kind of a short, sweet bullet point highlight. Those are the things that would be helpful for me.
Other feedback?
I like this format. It works for me.
Send me that letter. I'll take it back, look at it.
I have a comment when we keep you out of
All right, Yvonne, KPI report.
Happy to answer any questions that y'all have.
As I studied this last night, it looked to me like everything, like participation numbers, social media hits, everything was improving, like notably, except for one item, and that was the ice center non-hockey participants. So I think I would like to say to the staff, what a really nice job you've done in 2024 in increasing our attendance in our park and recreation activities. And then in our enterprise funds, in those enterprise activities, the progress that's been made on those came through in our net revenues. So thank you guys for all the work that you did to make these numbers so trending in such a nice direction.
Mother Nature helped too.
Yeah.
The rain in June.
Or, yeah, 94 days versus 84 days makes a huge difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah. Oh, and the splash passes that you got, the splash passes went up, which is not weather dependent, which is just a really nice bump to see.
Yeah, what I will say overall, and I think it's a great opportunity to do it, is our marketing and communications team that we have in place now, and these are newer staff members, have done an amazing job, and it's not just focused only at Waterworld, it's a district-wide improvement. So they are getting our word out, they're trying new innovative ideas, using influencers. I mean, they are really motivated to increase the awareness about everything that we're doing at the district, and the Splash Pass is absolutely one of those items, Margaret. So kudos to Skylar and his team, because I think they are just doing an excellent job. They are being very proactive and reaching out to the departments. I mean, putting together marketing plans for the recreation department, which I don't know if has ever been done. So really, really proud of that staff and really excited about where our potential is there. And of course, all of the rest of the team that does everything to facilitate all of these guests, which we love having. So yeah, the whole team did a great job.
Anything else on the KPI report? Thank you, Yvonne. Allison, we're now at the legal report.
Thank you. Good evening. There's a legal report in your board packet. Happy to answer any questions.
The only question I would have is how, and maybe over the holidays wasn't the right time, is have you had much time to look over the bylaws or have we sent them over to you yet?
I received your comments and I have not reviewed them yet.
Okay, so hopefully we can get that sometime soon.
Yeah, by February.
By February, that'd be great. We'll get another meeting on the calendar then for the bylaw committee.
Do you anticipate going back to the bylaws committee before coming back to the board?
I'll chime in there, Mr. President. I think that we'll wait for your comments back, Allison, and you and I can certainly go through that in light of the other issue we were talking about earlier with the properties. I think that's going to play into this whole thing as well. Okay. So I would recommend that we wait for Allison's comments back. If she gets them back before the board meeting, I'll reach out to you and we'll schedule another meeting for follow-up.
Yeah, I think I'd like to have another meeting before we
Okay.
bring it to the board.
Perfect. So I won't time my review schedule around the board meeting. That's kind of what I was getting at. All right, perfect. Thank you.
You've got an extra week.
All right.
Any old business? All right, new business. So looking for a resolution, a motion for the resolution to approve regular Board of Directors meetings.
I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District approve the resolution of meeting schedule for calendar year 2025 and designated posting locations for notices of regular and special meetings such as resolution is written.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Excuse me. Any comment, questions?
I think the comment I would make is that we're now moving the meetings to the second Tuesday of every month. And then if we need to have a second meeting during the month, that's on a to-be-D basis. So just so you guys know.
Yeah, that was in the resolution. Any other questions or comments?
I do have a procedural one. Do we read out the resolutions, or are the resolutions part of the board minutes?
The resolutions are part of the board minutes.
Okay.
Hopefully we don't have to read those out.
Yeah.
We need an electronic reader like they do in Congress. They can read it when nobody's in attendance. All right, any other comments about the meetings, posting the meetings and the meeting schedule? All in favor of moving the meetings and posting the meetings as listed in the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, looking for a resolution, a motion on the 2025 election.
I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District approve the 2025 election resolution as written.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions?
The comment that I have is, I appreciate that we're going to hire the experts to conduct the election, and I appreciate that we will be doing a mail-in ballot to ensure election integrity. So both of those are included in the resolution, and I appreciate that we have that going forward.
Just out of curiosity, again, mail-in ballot, but yes, normal elections always have a in-person location in case someone doesn't want to do mail. Do we have an alternative?
No, we won't have an in-person polling place. This will be, because the ballot will go to every single registered voter in our district.
Okay,
We will have drop-off locations though, Mike.
okay.
So we'll work, I think we've worked with, in the past with Federal Heights,
Through Adams County.
via Adams County, they'll help us, they'll pick up ballots. So people, if they don't want to put a stamp on it and put it in the mail, they will have the option to put it in a ballot drop box. Certain ballot drop boxes.
Actually, a local postman said you actually don't have to put a stamp on there, that they'll still deliver it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, the people who run the election, if you move here or you want there, you can go to them and they'll mail you a ballot. And so they have all of the they know all of the Colorado statutes as it pertains to election law, and they do a very good job of following them. So I think it's a very wise and good move to have professionals conduct the election.
Just want to state for the record that the company that Sue Blair is in charge of the elections is no relation. Just want to put that on the record.
Noted.
And I appreciate this because I plan on running again to continue the good work that we're doing here, so I appreciate that.
All right, so all those in favor of the 2025 election resolution, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Is there a motion for the surplus equipment
There it is,
Yeah.
yes.
buried in here somewhere?
Yeah, do you want me to?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
Looking
I-
for a motion on the approval of, the declaring equipment, the
Surplus.
surplus equipment.
I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District declare surplus the provided list of items and authorize staff to dispose of in a proper manner.
Second?
Motion and a second for the surplus equipment. Any questions, comments?
I have, what is it? Is it like all lawn gear? The surplus equipment?
There should be a schedule in your packet, but yeah, it's a couple of Gators, a couple of Easy Go Karts, and a Toro Z Master. And just for the board's information, what we generally do is put those on what's called public surplus website, which will be kind of, it's the eBay for governmental entities to sell their equipment.
I just didn't know what a Gator was, or,
Yeah, it's like a little utility vehicle.
And I don't know what an Easy Go is.
Easy Go's a golf cart.
Okay.
Warren, you might want a golf cart.
No. I don't want a Gator or a Toro Z Master either. My yard's not that big. All those in favor of the declaring the equipment surplus, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, looking for a motion for the revised district park rules and regulations.
Mike has it in his hand.
Go for it, Mike.
President, I move the Board of Directors of Highland Park and Recreation District approve the revised district park rules and regulations as written.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Discussion?
I think it properly addresses the the behavior that's expected at our parks. And what will happen if you don't follow the behavior guidelines, so good job. Is it posted? Like, how do people, can we give it to like all the, can we give it, how do we make people aware of it?
So it will be on the website, available for anyone to access if they need to, Margaret. And I think that we will pull out kind of more generalized terms for signage at certain facilities. And certainly we can even just QR code it to make sure that people have access to it. It's an awful lot to print and hand out to everybody, but certainly we will make sure that the information is there in case they need it.
I guess question for staff, any challenging areas when you're preparing these revisions? Is judgment calls, anything?
I'm sorry, Mike, what was your question?
Again, any challenging areas when you're making these revisions?
Oh,
Any
there's
gray
always
areas?
challenging areas. That's why these things change, yeah. But it actually is a good opportunity for us to review our processes, and when we find gaps, fortunately, these are a resource for us to go back to or to point back to for guests if we have any concerns with them. But yeah, there's, challenges every day.
Okay. I was looking particularly at the issue that we had down at Clear Creek where we had the unauthorized group of car enthusiasts that showed up. And it is addressed, but there's not a whole lot we can do if that happens. I mean, we can send people out, but at least that was kind of addressed. So yeah, thank you. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, because I found that one in here.
Okay. I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District approve as written the engagement letter to retain Clifton Larson Allen LLP as the district auditors for the fiscal year ended 2024.
Second.
It's a battle for the second.
Oh,
I don't know if that was Danny or Don.
I think it was both.
We'll pick one.
Yeah, pick
Nicole,
one.
pick one. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion about the engagement letter? Looks very similar to last year's. Any other discussion?
No, is this who we used last year?
Yes, we've been with Clifton Larson for several years now.
Okay.
They, and the fee is a little bit higher than last year, a little bit lower than the year before, so very much in line with where it should be. And Skylar and Mike and I met with them, talk about scope of services, schedule, and so forth, so we're very comfortable with the agreement.
And they're familiar with how we keep track of things, so
Good.
that makes sense. All those in favor of the motion to approve Clifton Larson, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we are at Board of Directors Committee update. The first one listed is the Bylaws Committee. I think you heard the update that we will get together once Allison gets those back to Yvonne. Capital Projects Committee meets next week. Finance Committee.
We met prior to the meeting and we were discussing the options that we have with regard to the conservation easements and other alternatives for that. And so we're still moving forward with investigating the alternatives that would be out there. And Ellison is going to look into those matters and then report back to us. Anything, did I miss anything, Mike?
No, good summary. And then, of course, I think getting our auditors lined up this year, key responsibility for the Finance Committee.
Highland Hills Foundation Committee update is we have our meeting on Thursday. And there's no update on the lease committee. Have not met.
How's your foundation Christmas party?
You mean the Winterfest? Yeah. So we don't have numbers yet, but what did you say the gross revenue was?
Yeah, we're finalizing those numbers right now. It's going to be somewhere between $14,000 and $15,000 of sales revenue from it. The expenses so far, I think we're tracking under $2,000 to $3,000, so it was a nice little fundraiser.
Oh, wow.
And I would say, just in terms of the event itself, Margaret and the entire team, we had a lot of Friends of Foundation people step up to volunteer. Of course, Nicole and some of our events committee people helped as well. It was a really nice event. That room was full. So the growth from year to year was fantastic. I think everybody had a good time. So yeah, I looked for that to continue. I mean, we actually, I think, had a conversation about Probably going to need to move it to a different night because the banquet rooms were filled with this event, and then the restaurant was filled with the prime rib night people. So we probably are going to have to move off of Wednesdays for next year's event so we can open up the entire thing. But it was a really well-run event, really well attended, and great job for that group that put that together.
It was a nice event, and thanks to Margaret for leading that, the committee, and then the friends and everybody that helped out. It turned out very nice.
Yeah,
Food was great. It was fun.
everyone did a great job. It was a team effort for sure.
All right, we're at Board of Directors open discussion, and Yvonne had sent us in the board packet the recommendation of the proposed executive goals. And I took a look at those. I'm sure everybody did. Questions or comments?
So I think that these goals are good. I like them. I like the high level that they are in the leadership. What I was looking for, and I don't know if any of the other board members would like, but we spent a lot of time and effort on the strategic plan, and that's looks at everything at a very high level. It would be helpful for me as a director to know next year how we are progressing toward meeting not just the capital plan measures in the strategic plan, but all of the other measures that were set forth out there. And if we could have an overriding goal to meet the spirit and objectives set forth in the strategic plan, and then look toward that, so we don't lose track of it. That's just a thought I had when I was reviewing these.
Just comments here again, as I think of objectives that a CEO of a company has. And so it's the financial performance of the company, it's the leadership of the organization, and the other intangibles that go with that. So again, I was hoping maybe on some of the, and again, the leadership applying to Yvonne and her direct reports is get something in there about leadership, people development, and again, make it, here's what's gonna get done in the 12 months. And then here's how we measure success. And I think that's part of it is, how do you measure success against the goals?
Yeah, like oversee the implementation of the strategic plan initiatives or lead the effort. I know what you're saying at a very high level.
And again, for a for-public company, measure of success, you know, it's revenue, it's net income, it's, stock price, you have all those financial measurements, but again, it's different here in a non-public entity. So, and the weather, you can't control the weather when it comes to water world, there were days it's open and so on. So it just expense management, revenue as much as you can, developing people, and then the mission.
Mission statement, yeah,
the
that's what I was
mission
thinking.
of the organization. And then how do you measure success?
So Mike and Margaret, what are you guys suggesting, that these be rewritten and to include a couple other pieces?
My understanding, there really hasn't been a good set of goals for the executive director and the leadership team in the past, and so this is kind of a first pass. And so, again, a lot of thought went into this and establishing those objectives. Now that we're providing feedback, just for staff to go and enhance it, take our feedback, make some revisions and so on. So that would be my suggestion.
Yeah. Really bringing them up a notch. So, I guess an example might be developing a district-wide 10-year capital replacement plan would, at a higher level, is orchestrating efforts to move forward with the strategic plan, which one of those include a capital plan. And building the team, like Mike said.
Are linking these goals directly to the strategic plan? Because we have the strategic
yeah.
plan that we can go on. These are more of the higher level goals. The strategic plan might be more the drill down, but trying to somehow link those more directly.
Yeah, well, and I know like the aquatics assessments, I think it would be drive the efforts for a community wide aquatics assessment infrastructure plan. So that's gonna be one of the main efforts this year. And then to Mike's point, at the end of the year, what does success look like when you drove those efforts for that community-wide aquatics assessment? And then, and I would also then say, and Mike was alluding to this as well, is how do the overall executive leadership goals tie into the mission statement and the value statement of the district? Like where, how does that tie in? But these are much better than in years past.
What I'd like to be cognizant of is to not get into the weeds and to try to stay at that higher level. If we can align these to some of the strategic plans where we can just point back to it. You know, we kind of know what the mission and vision is, but if we can just say that these align to, so maybe just a little more work on a couple of these. Yvonne, is that something that you think it should be done in a committee, or would you prefer to just work with your other directors and bring a couple of them back after taking the next stab at them?
I think what's going to be really helpful for us is a single comprehensive goal for the board. So if you guys all decide what it is exactly that you want as a group to see in the goals, and then if you guys can convey those to us, and then, like I said, we can work with the deputies on strengthening those. So I just want to make sure that all of you are in alignment with what you expect to see. And then we are more than happy to make changes and suggestions when it comes to that. So that's where I think it needs to start.
If you guys are in alignment, I guess, if you think, what are the two key documents that governs the district? Is the strategic plan and the 2025 budget. So all the objectives should revolve around those two items.
And then
Run the business and then make those strategic improvements as outlined.
And then how do they dovetail into the
Yvonne, does that give you enough information?
I will certainly take a stab at it from that. Maybe if any of you want to send me specific information, certainly, we can work at it as the executive leadership team. I think it does, but I also, want to make sure that I'm understanding correctly as well. So let me take a stab at it, or let us take a stab at it, and then what I probably will do is just email you out some versions, and love to hear your feedback, and then come back to you with a revised version of where I think we landed with everybody's feedback.
Does that sound good? Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Other Board of Directors open discussion? I just want to let everybody know that I was able to take my 15-month-old grandbaby to her very first toddler gymnastics type program. And she had a thoroughly great time. Everything was well organized, well run. The instructor was great. I think she might not have been the youngest one there, but she was the smallest one there. And it was her very first session, so she's learning how to line up and walk in a line, which is a lot of fun and a very important skill. So that will certainly help her as she moves into preschool and kindergarten. So it was fun. It was a really well done class.
I can't believe it's been 15 months.
She doesn't talk yet, but she barks.
And she bounces, Warren. She was bouncing pretty good
She
there on that
bounces a
video you
little
sent me.
bit, yeah. She has 2 dogs at her house and 2 dogs at our house and 2 dogs at the other grandma's house, and so she knows to bark. It's so cute. Her first words are a bark. Okay, and with that, the meeting is adjourned in time for the Avalanche game.
We have a recap. We need,
Oh, the recap, I'm sorry.
the recap is, we're taking another, second look at the executive director goals. That's the only item on.
I have that capital improvement plan will look at the trees that I received the email on, and also that we would have some conversations about Federal Heights Police and Fire with their ability to train in some of our facilities. That we would look at that as well.
Okay,
Now I can adjourn the meeting. All right, everybody, have a great night. Stay warm this week.